Fifth, the EDCs have not yet sought cost recovery for costs associated with responding to and restoring power following the tropical storm. When or if the EDCs choose to seek cost recovery in a future rate proceeding, the authority disallows specific storm response and recovery costs as a result of the determinations made in today's decision. This was just a very brief summary of a detailed decision that has followed an 8-month-long investigation. I commend all of authority staff as well as the stakeholders that participated in today's proceeding, and I recommend this decision to the panel of commissioners.
I move adoption, Madam Chairman.
A second, Madam Chairman.
Thank you. This item has been regularly moved and seconded. Before we move to a vote, are there any questions or comments from the bench?
Madam Chairman, if I may, this decision today does not in any way diminish the hard work and dedication of the Eversource and UI employees during the storm restoration process. However, it pains me, and it really does pain me, that once again, during my long tenure as a PURA commissioner, I'm sitting in judgment of our regulated utilities response to a tropical storm. I would like to thank all the parties that participated in this important docket, especially our exemplary staff at PURA and the hard work that they put into this docket. It's voluminous, as people will see. My colleagues, Chairman Gillette and Commissioner Karen, and I spent hours listening to powerful testimony of our numerous people impacted by this terrible storm. I believe that today, our recommendations and conclusions in this docket provide a path forward for our utility companies to respond to significant outages in a prompt, safe, and timely manner in the future. Thank you very much, Madam Chairman. Thank you for your leadership on this docket.
Thank you. Commissioner Karen.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Madam Chairman, I also would like to commend you on your leadership of the authority coming in here and addressing and leading on this docket. As you know, I'm not one for big speeches, but today I'm going to make an exception because I really want to express my disappointment. Let me start by saying that we have the utmost respect for the hardworking people of our electric distribution companies, who all work many long and arduous hours bringing the people of Connecticut back online. It's been my experience here at the Connecticut PURA that Eversource and United Illuminating are competent, well-run, and fine blue sky companies. However, when it comes to showtime and the spotlight goes on, and Eversource in particular proceed to cower in the corner, worse, decade after decade, it is always the same usual suspects: lack of preparedness, lack of communication, lack of coordination, and a lack of timely restoration. I'm not opposed in any way to our utilities making money for their shareholders and being responsible and responsive to them. My tenure here at the Connecticut PURA has been very supportive of the distribution company's operations and their recoveries. Eversource, especially in major storms, continually refuses to make the efforts to truly communicate with stakeholders about what the hell is going on in real time. When regulators are getting virtually all of their information from the evening newscasts, it illustrates a culture of arrogance and a dismissive attitude. The lack of communication went far beyond just timely updates to its regulators. The lack of clear communications with the town's emergency make-safe teams, and it is just appalling. The story of a dog electrocuted by a live wire days after the storm really gave me pause. I'm very sorry for the family owners of that dog, but thank God it was a dog and not a child or children, or more likely an adolescent who sees something dangerous as a challenge in some rite of passage. We're all lucky no one tried to jump over a live wire. This incident was especially chilling for me. I lost my brother Jamie to electrocution. He was killed in a summer construction accident in Danbury in 1993. It was exceptionally compelling to hear what can only be construed as a cavalier attitude by the Eversource management in the restoration efforts of this storm. PURA's investigation has shown that this is clearly and simply an illustration of a failure of leadership and an upper management team that is all too comfortable in placing profit over people. Madam Chairman, with that, I want to let you know that I support this decision and appreciate all the work of our staff and all the stakeholders and all the people who joined us in this investigation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chairman and Mr. Commissioner. I want to echo the comments of my colleagues. Today's decision is not taken lightly by the authority. We really do recognize and appreciate the hard work of the line workers and field workers of both utilities. But what we saw throughout the course of the investigation, as well as what we lived ourselves during last August, was looking at a company who was operating as a corporation and not a public utility with the known obligation by law to provide essential services to its customers. Unfortunately, we find ourselves with much more than a public image problem on our hands. Our public utilities, and Eversource in particular, have failed us and continue to fail us by putting shareholders above the rights and goods of the citizens of Connecticut. I am not satisfied by the status quo of the utilities treating PURA simply as a body that they report information to. We are the regulator, and continuing to hold them to account will remain my mission for the duration of my service in this position alongside my colleagues. With that, I would ask Mr. Bumpin to please take the roll.
Chairman Gillette,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Bukowski,
Yes.
Commissioner Karen,
Yes.
With that, today's decision in docket number 200803 is adopted. We'll next move to the final decision on today's regular calendar. Docket number 21-01-03. Here is annual review of the rate adjustment mechanisms of the Connecticut Light and Power Company. Today's decision is an interim decision. The authority is addressing the treatment of the rate adjustment mechanisms for the year May 1, 2021 through April 30th, 2022, following procedural framework that for reconciling the energy adjustment clauses and transmission rate adjustment clauses for Eversource that was first established by the authority in December of 2020. Specifically, this interim decision conditionally approves rate adjustments for certain reconciling adjustment mechanisms. On April 14th, 2021, the authority issued its proposed interim decision in this proceeding, providing an opportunity for parties, interveners, and the like file written exceptions and an oral argument. Oral argument was held on April 22nd, 2021. In consideration of the written exceptions and oral arguments, the authority is revising its proposed interim decision and issuing today's interim decision instead. The authority, however, still finds that the company's proposed total cost recovery option does not provide sufficient protection to relevant public interests, both existing and foreseeable. As such, the authority determines that separate treatment of the 2020 under recoveries from the expected 2021 revenue requirement is appropriate and finds that additional process is necessary to determine the amortization period for the under recoveries from 2020. For the rate adjustments applicable to calendar year 2021 revenue requirement, the authority is modifying its approach this one time to allow rate adjustments to go into effect on June 1st, 2021. It's a procedural adjustment, the one-time exception. In the future, such adjustments will go into effect on May 1st. The authority is directing the company to adjust the TAC, its revenue decoupling mechanism, its ESI, its CTA mechanism, and base distribution rates to become effective June 1st, 2021, without the 2020 under recovery components incorporated. As stated, those 2020 under recovery requirements attributed to the non-bypassable charge, the TAC, and the RDM will be reviewed this summer for the purposes of determining the appropriate amortization period. Moreover, the remaining adjustments, reconciling components on the customer's bills, the non-bypassable charge and the SBC, which are intended to recover incremental costs associated with calendar year 2021 requirement, The authority is instead directing the company to maintain those current rates as they were in effect on January 1st of 2020. Any subsequently authorized rate adjustments to those components would become effective on September 1st, following the second phase of this proceeding. With that, I am recommending today's decision to the panel.
I move adoption, Madam Chairman.
Second.
Thank you. Item has been regularly moved and seconded. No questions or comments. Can we take the roll, please?
Chairman Gillette,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Bukowski,
Yes.
Commissioner Karen,
Yes.
Thank you. The item has been adopted. That brings us to the end of the regular calendar. We also have a consent calendar in front of us. There's 6 items on today's consent calendar. Let's take a motion to adopt the consent calendar in full, please.
Madam Chairman, I would move adoption of today's consent calendar items 1 through 6.
I second it.
Thank you. The consent calendar has been regularly moved and seconded. Seeing no questions or comments, can we please take the roll?
Chairman Gillette,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Bukowski,
Yes.
Commissioner Karen.
Yes.
Thank you. Today's consent calendar has been adopted. With that, we have reached the end of our agenda for today's regular meeting. We will stand adjourned and we'll reconvene for a regular meeting next Wednesday, May 5th at 10 a.m. also by remote teleconference. Thank you for attending today. And we will, on behalf of my colleagues and myself, we wish you a good afternoon. Thank you.